Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel VG Arts Official. Today we are going to learn how to draw a realistic eye step by step using graphite pencils. This tutorial is suitable for beginners as well as intermediate artists who want to improve their observation, shading and blending skills. The first step is to carefully observe the reference photo. Don't rush into drawing immediately. Spend some time studying the eye. Notice the shape of the eyelids, the iris, the pupil, the eyelashes, and most importantly, identify where the light areas and dark areas are located. To make the drawing process easier, we can simplify the eye into basic shapes. Every complex drawing can be broken down into simple geometric forms. This helps us understand proportions more accurately. Here I have divided this image by using a rectangle shape and one square shape and horizontal lines. This is the rectangle. In this, inside the rectangle, the eye, and the above one rectangle above for eyebrows. Okay. For this drawing, I will be using HB, 4B, 6B, 8B grade graphite pencils and 7B, 8B grade Staedtler black pencils for eyebrows, eyelashes, and then thin size paintbrush for blending at small areas, makeup brush for smooth blending, mechanical eraser for thin areas to erase, kneadable eraser for highlight areas. These tools are enough to draw the realistic eye. I will start by drawing a rectangle according to the size I want for my realistic eye. This rectangle acts as a guide and helps maintain correct proportions throughout the drawing process. Always use an HB pencil with very light pressure while drawing the outline. Avoid pressing hard because dark lines can be difficult to erase later and may affect the realism of the final drawing. For this tutorial, we are not using measuring tools. Instead, we are training our eyes to estimate proportions. Every artist should develop both measuring power and guessing power. The more you practice observing and estimating distance, angles and proportions, the stronger your drawing skills will become. Inside the rectangle, I draw a horizontal guideline approximately 3/4 from the top. And then after that, I also draw another horizontal guideline near the bottom. These guidelines help me position the eye correctly. And again, I want to draw one more horizontal line, center of the 3/4 part, center of the 3/4 part. Okay, between these two, we have to draw one horizontal line. Same measurement at the bottom of the 3/4 line. We have to mark center point. Okay, between these two points, we have to draw one horizontal line, bottom also. Now you have to mark center point at this horizontal line. On this horizontal line, this is the center point, same bottom also. Now we have to draw square. Okay, at the center of the rectangle, you have to measure properly from this point to ending. From this point to ending, you have to mark one center point. Then you can draw one vertical line from 3/4 of this line. Okay, this is the 3/4. Okay, exactly you have to draw at the center of the rectangle. Measure properly. Okay, guessing power is very important. This is the point. So now I have to draw vertical lines from this point to bottom. See, like this. Now we got the square shape at the center of the rectangle. Now I begin sketching the basic shape of the eye. At this stage, don't focus on details. Concentrate only on the overall shape and proportions. Check the width, height and angle of the eye carefully. We have to draw curve from this point to here, up to here. Now the upper curve has completed. The bottom curve is touching on this line at here, this point. Okay, you have to observe properly. Here we have drawing. Okay, the top curve is very bent, but the bottom curve is not that much of bend. You have to observe properly. From here, from this point, the curve is starting. You have to draw curve from this point to touch that line. Okay, we have to draw one more curve at bottom through second guideline of the horizontal line. Same at top also we have to draw one more curve through guidelines of the second horizontal line. This is the curve. We have completed curve. Now we have to draw eyeball at center of the square shape. Okay, now we start the circle to draw eyeball exactly at the center of the square. Before shading, take a moment to compare your outline with the reference photo. Small corrections are easier to make now than after shading has started. From here we have to draw one curve. Okay, from this point have to draw one curve. We have to take one center point inside the eyeball. This is the center point. Okay, here the two lines, horizontal and vertical line, intersects. That point is called center point of the eyeball. Okay, here now we are going to draw pupil. Okay, you know, pupil, small circle inside the eyeball. This is pupil. Draw properly. Observe properly the reference image. Now we have to draw the white eye reflex at this portion. At this portion we will get the reflection. So that's we have to draw. Observe properly how it is there in reference image. From here, see, from here I have one line, vertical line, not straight, little curve, and here one semicircle. Okay, like this have to draw. Then from here one more line. After that we have two vertical lines side by side. Okay, first we have to draw slightly by using HB grade pencil. Now at this little more, from here to here you have to draw one horizontal small line. Okay, to here, then you can draw one curve vertical line, not straight line, little curve line, and between this you have to draw one more line. Okay, from here we have one slant line. Draw one slant or diagonal line. Okay, like this. Once the basic shape is complete, I start refining the outline. I add the eyelids, erase pupil, tear duct, and surrounding details. Remember to keep all the lines light and clean. Now we are ready to begin shading. I always prefer to start from the lighter values and gradually move towards darker values. This gives better control over the drawing and helps create smooth value transitions. You have to erase guidelines for better you don't get confused. That's why I'm erasing the guidelines. For the first layer of shading, I use an HB pencil. I apply very light graphite to establish the basic values. At this stage, I am not trying to make the dark areas completely dark. When applying graphite, you can use circular strokes or straight strokes. Circular strokes help create smooth and even shading, while straight strokes can be useful for certain textures and directional forms. Always build values gradually. Many beginners try to achieve the darkest values immediately, but realistic drawing requires patience and layering. As I continue shading, I carefully observe the reference photo. I compare every value with the surrounding values. Realism is created through correct value relationships rather than individual details. The The pupil is usually one of the darkest parts of the eye. Here, I use an 8B pencil to create rich dark values or 7B or 8B Stadler black pencil. Strong contrast between the pupil and the highlights helps make the eye look more realistic. Now let's work on the iris. Observe the texture carefully. The iris contains many fine lines and patterns radiating outward from the pupil. Use controlled pencil strokes to create these textures. Don't draw every detail exactly. Instead, focus on creating the overall impression of texture. The brightest highlights often appear in the reflection on the eyeball. These highlights creates life and realism in the eye. Next, I refine the eyelids. Notice the shadows created by the upper eyelid. These shadows add depth and make the eye appear more realistic. As I continue building values, I constantly compare the drawing with the reference photo. Observation is an ongoing process throughout the entire artwork. Next, I continue refining the skin textures and shadows around the eye. Small value changes can have a big impact on realism. Now I'm using Stedler Black 7B grade pencil for the curve. This curve is very dark shade, so I'm using dark. Here we have some shading. Observe properly reference image. Here we have light area, this portion, dark portion. So first base layer I'm forming with HB grade pencil. Okay, then after that I'm using 4B grade pencil above the base layer. Notice how the skin around the eye appears soft and smooth. Blending helps us achieve that realistic texture. For darker areas, I gradually introduce 4B and 6B pencils. These pencils allow me to deepen the shadows while maintaining smooth transitions. Okay, I'm using 4B grade graphite pencil for dark area after completion of base layer of HB grade pencil. Okay, with less pressure. Now I use a soft makeup brush to blend the graphite. This helps smooth out pencil strokes and creates soft transitions between values. Use gentle movements while blending. Avoid applying excessive pressure because it can damage the paper surface. Now let's work on the eyelashes. Avoid drawing eyelashes as simple straight lines. Eyelashes have thickness, curvature, and direction. Some overlap each other and some appear darker than others. First I am doing base layer with HB grade pencil, then after that I am using 4B grade pencil. See, this is 4B grade pencil. I am using 4B for dark areas to cover. Have to do shading with light pressure. Then after that you have to draw eyebrows in this direction, upward direction. See, upward direction, same like that. Have to draw from here to upward direction, same like in curve, not straight line. Like this you have to draw the eyebrows like this in this form. Okay, you have to follow like that. You have to give the strokes like this in upward direction, like a curve, not straight lines. Okay, for these eyebrows I am using 8B grade Stedler black pencils. Now I use the kneadable eraser to create highlights. A kneadable eraser is perfect for lifting graphite gently without damaging the paper. One important tip is to preserve the light highlight areas from the beginning whenever possible. Try to avoid shading over bright highlights. If we constantly erase and rework the same area, the paper surface may become damaged. We have completed the total eye drawing. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos.